Welcome back to another episode of the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Johnstone. And before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you that the majority of funded deals in the mortgage industry come from referrals, whether it's from your past customers and center of influence, or it's referral partners like realtors, financial planners, insurance advisors, title companies. We have discovered that there are 7 pathways to get as many referrals as you can in your mortgage business. And we have pre-programmed them into the loan officer CRM. That's what it is. It's a referral getting engine. And we have built a power dialer so you can make more calls. We have pre-built all of the workflows, so all of the messaging is there waiting for you to customize it for you. And then we built AI agents to have the conversations with the people that you are communicating to help you generate more referrals. Now, we also include 300 qualified agents a month so you can get new referral relationships, and we teach you the 8 different offers that you can use to get top producing agents in order to refer you business and open up those relationships. So right now, go to loanofficercrm.ai. loanofficercrm.ai. You can also go to Google and type in Loan Officer CRM. We're in the #1 spot on Google. Check it out, read all the reviews, and then book a one-on-one demo with our team. They'll answer all your questions, walk you through the whole program, and help you discover whether it's the right fit for your business, because it's not right for everybody, but it may be right for you. And if it is, it's an incredible opportunity. So head on over to loanofficercrm.ai and enjoy this episode of the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. This one's super special. We have JJ Mazzo in the house. JJ, welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. We're honored to have you, another major top producer. I mean, you have been in the Scotsman's Guide, for like the last 10 years consistently. This year in the top 100 again. Incredible success. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, super cool.
Now, 2 parts. 1, because I don't want to forget, and 2, I'm super excited. You have a new book that has come out, which I'm super stoked about. It's called Perseverance Principles. And so I thought that we would start there. First off, tell us about the book and tell us where we can get it.
The book was, I like to say it was definitely a God thing. It wasn't something that I said, hey, I'm going to plan and I'm going to write a book and then I'm going to have Wiley want to publish it and buy the book. Like, that was not it at all. It was an exercise that I was doing with our coaching company, Impact Elite Coaching, and we were doing it through brand builders. And you go through this whole branding audit and prepping and all this stuff for like 3 days together. And then from there, I said, let me do one for my personal business as well. And so as we sat down, they peeled the onion back and you get real deep. Like, you get 2 days worth of a pretty intensive going through your life story. And as we did it, there was this framework that was there. And I was like, man, this would be really cool. Like, I think there's like a book here or something that I think would be really cool to tell the story and then help people. And so then it was just a matter of being put in touch with the right people. And then, again, I kept pulling on the thread and then writing it for about a year and a half and then getting introduced to Wiley and pitching the book to them and then them saying yes. And then here we are. The book will, pre-sales are already on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and on our website, perseveranceprinciples.com. And then the book will be in people's hands October 7th.
That is incredible. That's well, I'm stoked to get my copy. And I think that's going to be a golden thread through our conversation here of Perseverance Principles, because, man, it's been an interesting couple of years here in the mortgage market. And those of us that are still plugging away, and many of us really crushing it right now, despite market conditions, takes a little bit of perseverance. So I'd like to go a little bit back in time, just because I'm blessed to know a little bit of your story. For our listeners that don't know, take us back in time to when you weren't on the Scotsman's Guide and running a top producing mortgage business. Like, tell us a little bit of your story about how you got from where you are to where you are today.
Yeah, you bet. So, and it kind of weaves into the book and inspired it, because I do have to go back to some unfriendly times. I got into the mortgage business in the late 90s, 96. The company I was working for, we were getting these leads sent to us out of this guy's garage. He was faxing them to us. And for those that don't know what a fax machine is, Google it. You can know what that is. And they were internet leads, which people thought were crazy because the internet had just been basically invented and released out.
Yep.
So this guy was sending us these leads for like $5. You'd compete against two other people, and whoever would win would win. So you can imagine. Well, fast forward that guy out of his garage was Doug Lebda, who owned LendingTree.com. And
No
so
way.
I happened to be lucky enough to be one of the first loan officers and companies and people to start getting those type of leads. Obviously, he built quite the empire with it, sold it, bought it back again. But back then, I mean, the closing ratio on those were great
Mm-hmm.
because they only sold them to two people. You could close them at, I don't know, I think we were closing anywhere between 24 to 40% closing ratio on them because again, you just had to beat the other guy you were talking to, right?
Yep.
And back then, your big value add was, we had an A plus on the Better Business Bureau rating. Okay, so like there was way different times back then. And back then, average product had 2 points on the front, 2 points on the back, interest rates in the sixes and sevens. I'd sell a 5-year fix, or 3-year fixed with a 5-year prepayment penalty. I mean, these were different times. So right now, people have a hard time upselling a rate a quarter. It always cracks me up. So those were the times. Lots of subprime loans because that's what was available. That was the product. And I lived in Orange County. There were more mortgage companies in Orange County per capita than anywhere else in the United States. So there was lots of opportunity there, and that's how I kind of broke into the business. Um, and I was in management. I had led a sales team and then got back into sales itself and stuck there until the crash happened. And that's, when the crash happened, we lost everything. So when I mean everything, I mean we lost our house, we lost all our cars. Uh, it was really, really rough. And it was the same year my daughter was born in 2009, January of '09. So my youngest
Wow.
daughter was born then. I had a 2-year old, and then my wife and I were 2 years into our marriage. So coupling that with my mom passed away, my brother passed away, my wife's mom passed away. This was not a stellar moment in time.
Yeah.
And when I think I became, with LendingTree, I was like the number one subprime loan officer in the nation for LendingTree leads.
Mm-hmm.
So inherently, that would equate to having the worst job in the United States of America when you think about it. So it was it was all coming down to that, and I did 100% refinance. I was 100% internet leads. So you can imagine my livelihood, and I thought I was killing it. I thought I
Mhm.
was doing great climbing out of a very unstable situation growing up. But that's where the tides had turned. 08, '09 really was the turning tides for me. Even having the cars taken out of the driveway, and then I was riding my bike to work, and then a homeless guy stole my bike, and then I had to walk to the office, and I was renting a cubicle for $100 a month next to a roofing guy and next to a call center person, just so I can make phone calls and pound the phones because we had this estate and then moved into this 1,100 square foot house, and there was no room for me to actually call because I had a baby in one and a 2-year-old
Yeah.
in another in this tiny little place. So I had to rent this cubicle and walk to that every single day. So it was, when we talk about the past 4 years is tough. I've been waiting for these past 4 years ever since that happened in a much different capacity. And so I think those experiences are what have brought me to be able to share those experiences because I know a lot of people are going through a similar experience, right? I mean,
Yep.
we've lost hundreds of thousands of mortgage bankers in this industry as well as mortgage banks. It is not much different than the '08, '09. It's different for some of us that prepared, but
Yep.
that gives you a little backstory up to '08, '09 and kind of the job that I had, had that brought me up to that.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people listening to this. Okay, so I'm seeing in our community and all of our loan officers, there's really kind of two people. There's the industry experts that have been here for a long time and they know loans were just falling out of the sky during the refinance boom that we just went through. And now it's like back to first principles of growing your business and all of those wonderful things. And then you've got the newbies that are coming into the industry that don't know about the history and the crash and everything, and it's just rosy and it's amazing. And they're the ones that are crushing it. They're
Yep.
the ones that are like, oh, this is all I have to do. I can pick up the phone. I can build relationships. I got to work my sphere. This is
Yep.
great, right? So, with you having so much experience in the mortgage industry, how are you looking at today's marketplace? And what are the principles that you're applying to it to stay in the top 100 of the Scotsman's Guide, to continue to bring business in? Like, what's working in today's market?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the fundamentals. One, a purchase-based business. So the one
Yes.
thing we did is even in 2020 and 2021, I mean, we had some incredible years, $250 million volumes both of those years, but we were still purchase driven. So I was still 60, 65% purchase, something like that. And we were really focused on that because I was really confident that when the market crashed, that the realtors would say, oh, now you want my business. When
Yep.
rates go up, now you want my business. Where were you when all the refis happened? So we were very, very intentional in making sure that we did purchase by day, refis by night. So my team was only allowed to work on refis after 5 o'clock at night to ensure that the purchases were taken care of, or until all the pre-approvals were knocked out for that particular day. And so that really helped us stay in front. So I think it was being proactive and doubling down on the basics. And then I would say in this market, it was more of the basics, but you had to do more of the basics. Meaning, if you had to, let's say you had to meet with, let's say you had to meet with 50 people a week, then in this market, you got to meet with 100 people a week. So
Yep.
if you track your data and you track and know how many leads you need, how many conversations, how many face to faces, if you know all that, then when the market shifts and those conversions adjust, then you know how to adjust your activity to get those things back up again. And so it really was more of the same. I love leveraged events. That's what I do. Most of it's the best use of my time
Yep.
is one to many, and then fortune in the follow up. So a really great follow up, really great conversions, and the one to many type atmosphere where I can do that. So I think that's what really, really works. I don't think, I listen, social media is social media, but I still haven't met anyone that converts very high and does lots of deals just from social media. Yes, I've heard people get lots of leads and then they convert really, really low. Or
Yep.
I've heard people that do a bunch of deals, but most of them are really coming from relationships. And I know a lot of people that do a lot of stuff on social, and I do a ton of stuff on social. So I think it's important for branding. I
Yep.
think it's very important for reputation and legitimacy. But I think a lot of people have kind of gone that way thinking, oh, we're going to do these webinars, we're going to do all this stuff. And it's like, man, I watch closing ratios. If I can close something at 25% from lead to fund, why am
Yep.
I going to do a 10% lead to fund activity? And so I think people, that pay attention to those things and really look at the data and not the feelings, facts over feelings, they're
Yes.
that are doing really, really good in this business right now. And listen, there is certain amount of winning by default, because when the rates shot up at 8% and there were still a 500,000 mortgage bankers fighting for realtor business,
Yep.
it was hard. And I don't care how good you were, your numbers did not look pretty.
Yep.
Fast forward 4 years, almost 3.5 years, right? And there's a 500,000 less competitors. Okay, well, if you have the stamina, you're going to win by a little bit of default at that point.
Yep.
So I think there's some of that too.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And we've got a saying in well, I believe that social media, specifically in the mortgage industry, is so that you have the brand presence for when people research you when you're doing the fundamentals. So you do your database marketing, somebody in your database refers you a customer, they check you out on social. Oh, okay, checks out. You close the lead from the referral because the social media assisted with it, but the social media didn't originate the activity. It's a secondary. Same thing with the realtors. You call a qualified realtor, they're going to go check you out. And what we're heavy in right now is, what does ChatGPT say about you? What does Gemini say about you? And feeding like your book and those points into it. So when somebody says, hey, tell me about JJ Mazzo and his mortgage business, it comes up with the right bullet points to convert that person to, hey, yeah, I am going to fund, and get that funding ratio from 25% to 35% because of the support. So with that little diatribe out of the way, you mentioned leveraged events.
Mhm.
So are those leveraged events for customers to generate referrals, leveraged events to get in front of qualified real estate agents? What is it?
It's real estate agents. So I believe in helping. I just see there's a big need in the real estate industry for them getting help on how to create their own referrals in business.
Oh,
And so I focus on really educating and teaching them how to do that. And I'll focus on like affordability solutions is what I'm focusing on right now.
okay.
It does pivot and move a bit, but the foundations, and when you help and you give and you give and you give, then you're going to get that in return.
Yep.
Uh, the first time home buyer classes and things like that, that's always cool and it's super good. And I think that's really, really important. But I focus on the tip of the spear, which is I want the referral partners. I want to get as many of their referrals as possible. That triangle of trust, if you will, relationship,
Yep.
and it makes it way, way easier for us to close. So I focus really on that because um, like the money is made in the business and getting loans, not doing loans. And I do believe that you need to be a really great problem solver in this industry. And if you can get loans and you know how to do loans really, really well, and you couple those together, then you're going to crush it. But then you get to a point when you realize that the doing loans can easily be replaced.
Yep.
Uh, my team, I argue, my team can convert as good as I can now because you consistently train and train and train and reps and reps and reps where I feel sometimes loan officers want to get stuck in the doing loans.
Mhm.
And we're working on this even with Impact. The doing loans will be replaced,
Yes.
and it will be replaced because, and there's already stuff now that is replacing much of that. And so it's just a matter of a couple of years. So if you want to thrive, I think it's really, really important that you can't replace me as a presenter. You can't replace me as the educator and presenter. You can replace me as the educator. You can go on and get educated, but to have it presented in a way that can be absorbed and then applied is going to be very, very hard for AI to replace, anytime soon.
Yeah, I could not agree more. We've passed the information age where the sea of information now becomes the problem.
Yep.
And it's the person that can translate it, make it valuable, and walk alongside that referral partner to actually get it implemented. That's where the value in the relationship is built, and that's what generates the business. And I couldn't agree more with processing. AI is just going to eat that up. Um,
Processing, underwriting, they already have AI driven underwriting where they'll actually rep and warrant each condition.
yeah,
So
and
it's
like
like, I mean, it's here, and we're in the manufacturing business. We're not in. That's the reality. Whoever can manufacture it for the cheapest and the most efficient will win in this business, and that's always been the case. And it's just get going faster and faster and faster. And then the same to be said, if you can do that, then it's just a matter of can you generate the referrals so that you can manufacture it really, really great.
yes, 100%. So talking to realtors, and let's go one to many, and we're manufacturing value through teaching realtors how to get more business.
Mhm.
How far are you taking that? Like, are you running webinars, in-person events, and are you giving them scripts? Or are you like, hey, come alongside, come into my office and let's do some marketing to your database and generate some deals? Like, can you walk me through how it feels for the agent?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll share them tools that I'm using. So as I'm
Cool.
giving, I like to do more in-person presentations because again, that human interaction is what helps increase conversions and build relationships. I'm
Yep.
not opposed to doing webinars or anything like that. We do those as well, but that in-person is what I'm going for, and I try and do as many as I can each month. And I can generate really good. I mean, when I go to those, I can usually generate anywhere between 20 and 30 leads in an hour and a half through an obligation close and survey at the end. So it's
Yep.
really so at the end it pays for itself when we do those. But to kind of go deeper, what I'll typically do is let's say I'm showing them our lead tracker and how we track leads and the conversions for them.
Yep.
So I'm teaching them, hey, this is how you track leads and convert, and they're not using those tools. And then at the same time, the Jedi mind trick is, wow, you mean when I hand you a lead, you know exactly what your conversions are and how to convert them at this level. Well, instead of me doing it myself, maybe I should just give you the lead. So there's two parts in that, which is yes, I'm going to teach you how to fish, But at the same token, I have a really great sushi restaurant. You should just come in and maybe order some sushi too. So I think there's duality in the messaging and what we're trying to accomplish in those.
Yeah. And for our listeners, I mean, we had 100 different lead sources of doing just that. We went to real estate agents and we did in person. So the broker would sponsor it. They'd bring us in. We would teach internet lead generation and just say, hey, do you want leads? They would come in and the real estate agents would buy all of the leads. But then we would put them into our follow up sequence and we'd say, hey, we see here that you're not calling or texting or following up on these leads at all. Would you like us to do it with you? We would go get the pre-quals and then refer them back to the real estate agent, but the real estate agents were the ones paying for the leads. Um,
Find a need, fill a need. And so it's like, I really, and for those small percentage of referral partners that actually do what it is that you give them. So I have this one referral partner. I mean, he's now, he was in debt and now he's not. He's pretty wealthy. He's got $100 million business. He's got a team. He's number one in his marketplace. And really, it was one of those few. You get the 1% that actually do everything that you
yep.
tell them, and they get almost neurotic about it. And then they have really similar success in their business. But that's not going to be the majority of them. The majority of them are just going to keep coming back. If they can take one or two nuggets from the presentation, they feel the value, and then they'll refer you the business.
Yes, 100%. And then, like you said at the beginning, continuous follow up. You
Yep.
meet somebody at an event. I'm assuming you've got a CRM, you drop them into the CRM, and then you're making consistent phone calls out to those people that you've got relationships with.
Yeah, so today is that day. I mean, if you look, I have a really rigid calendar. So
Oh, nice.
this is my calendar, and then I have 3 hours blocked to call realtors today.
Yep.
I know that I get distracted, so I print out my list. I drive down to the harbor, park in front of the beach where it's cool to look at, and I just start pounding the phones, and I can usually get through 100 realtors, 80 realtors, or whatever in that 3 hour block. And then I have a go-to conversation. So at the top of it, each week when I'm calling, it's just going to be something different. This week, we're going to talk about our super jumbo up to 10 million that we're now doing. So
Yep.
it opens up that conversation to remind people that we do those type of products
Yep.
because they just forget. You got to have constant value reiteration. So that'll be today, and then after I get off this call with you, I have a presentation at a broker's office in front of a bunch of realtors. So it'll be very effective. By the end of this day, I should be in front of anywhere between 75 and 125 realtors in one way, shape, or form, and that will feed the business over the next couple of days and weeks to get some more leads.
So, JJ, how many hours a day today are you going to spend processing loans?
None.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah. I don't spend any time in the loan process anymore. I only get involved if it's a no. So
Right.
the rule is no's are no, we can't give you the loan that you want. No, we can't get you the loan amount that you want. No, we can't get you a loan at all. We have a process for all of those. We always believe there is a way to give you a loan. It's just when and how, and then we give them that path into a follow up. So that doesn't happen often. The team is very, very resourceful. Most of mine are full-blown underwriters. They know how to underwrite on the team. So when it comes to me, and this is on my personal production, but my entire division. So we're doing 250 to 300 loans a month in the division, and I can say count on one hand the ones that actually have to come to me or go to our CEO and work them. It just doesn't happen often because they're really resourceful on
Yep.
getting the answers and really working it to get stuff done. So it's grateful. You have the right people that know how to do loans better than you. Then you can focus on getting loans, which is what you know how to do better than they do. And then you work together as a team to crush it.
That's right. Man, right. That little segment right there is the golden nugget of the episode, folks. We're getting ready to scale. It's going to be an amazing couple of years here in the mortgage industry. And it's the people that understand scale. And we are in the business of originating loans, not processing loans. And that comes through realtor relationships and working your database effectively. JJ, I know you've been so generous with your time, and I sincerely appreciate you giving to us and to the industry in general by being here. Your book is called Perseverance Principles.
Yep.
Can you take the floor and just tell us a little bit about the principles itself? Because I'm personally, I feel akin to you because of your personal journey. Like, yes, you're very successful in business, and thank you for being on the show and talking about it, but you're an incredible person. You're an incredible individual. Could you share part of that with the audience as well?
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. I haven't always been. And so this is really a journey that, I haven't always been successful. I haven't always been a great person. It really is a journey of we've all gone through hard stuff.
Yep.
And instead of being inspired by me or whoever you're inspired by, I think deep down in us, everyone has inside them things that they've already persevered and already overcome and already put through that they should be inspired by themselves, and they don't give
Mm.
themselves enough credit. And so
Hmm.
these principles help uncover that. And the principles also help you walk through when shit happens. Hey, let me go to one of these principles and see where I am at to be able to push through again. And then we have some cool workbooks that we'll do. So the first one is the discomfort zone. It is where you are in your discomfort and hitting it head on. You
Mm.
see, I think a lot of times what we do is, we are in a discomfort place or an uncomfortable place in that discomfort zone, and we want to ignore it. We want to push it off. Maybe you want to drink or do drugs or anything to numb it and just avoid it. And the reality is it's hitting it head on, dealing with it, pushing through it that releases a lot of that weight for you to get to the next point in your life. And then that's where you develop self leadership. And
Mm.
it's you leading yourself to where you want to go. And instead of letting these other things leading you or outside forces that lead you. And so that's the second principle is just developing self leadership. And then, the third one that I'll go over is just tapping into a support system. You see, what changed my life was the support system that I tapped into after 0809. It was around 2012, 2013. And that's where I ran into people that were making $1 million in this business, that were 100% referral based, that were getting business from realtors, that were doing purchases, basically everything that I wasn't doing. And some of which are like, my business partners now in coaching. And it was really cool because I think once you know that you don't know, and you really, stop, put the ego, set it aside, and push through that, then you tap into the right group of people. Because if you hang out with clowns, you're going to get a circus. So Lord
Yeah.
knows, and I had been to enough circuses in my life that at that stage, I was either going to kill myself, true, or I was going to do everything it took to fight for my family. And
Mm.
I thank God chose the other. And so the support system really, really is, and then putting those plans into practice. So there's, I think a lot of people, I know people when they read this will be able to relate to it in the real estate and the mortgage industry for sure. Um, and we've got some really great endorsements. Tom Ferry read it and was like, "Dude, this is really, really good." So for real estate agents, it's got his endorsement. He's a pretty good dude and pretty smart when it comes to real estate coaching. But
Oh yeah.
it's something I'm proud of, and I was super vulnerable in it. And so I hope that inspires people to be vulnerable in their own right and really see that they've got some principles to work through. If they're going through it now, great. If they're not, then when they go through it in the future.
That's amazing. And that's perseveranceprinciples.com.
Yes.
Perfect. For all of our listeners, that's in the show notes. JJ, thank you for being on the show. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, any parting thoughts for those of us in the mortgage industry today?
First off, thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this. I think it's really important. Just hearing different things from different people, and it goes back into just finding a support system. And
Yeah.
uh, I'm constantly surrounding myself around people that know more or are further along in the journey than I am.
Yep.
And this business can be very, very discouraging at times and frustrating and hard. And that's why you have so much opportunity in it, because nothing worthwhile isn't all of those things. So I think it's important, man. If you're out there and you're looking and you're either drifting or you're directed, I had drifted for the first half of my career and I was directed for the second half. It's when you're directed and disciplined that you're really going to see the most growth in your business and in life. So find a tribe if you haven't already.
Very wise words. Again, JJ, thank you for being on the show. And to all of our listeners, thank you for listening.